in here has their cell phone, please get it out. Please. You will not get in trouble. I will not take it away. Okay. Now, I am sure you are familiar with Remind 101. Okay. So, I have to... Hold on. I got to add a class here. Algebra.
All the classes 8, 10, 10. It's probably the selfish.
Okay, here's the problem. I get a little lost on how to do this now. Okay, so let's see if I can figure this out. Hold it. All right, so here's the deal. This is the phone number. This is how I think we do this. No, listen very carefully. I believe that you have to type in the following phone number. If you don't have your phone with you, then write this down on paper, okay? And then you can do it when you get home. 484 240 2452. 484 240 2452. That's the phone number you text to. And then this is what you have to put in the symbol place or as your message. At 143A28. At 143A28. And that should put you in the class. Okay? Now, yep, head in the game here, guys. The reason it was so important for me to do that is because starting tomorrow, something pretty cool happens. Patchogue Medford Library actually pays me to go there for 2 hours every week and sit there and help any student in the district with their homework. Now, mostly those students tend to be in my classes. So, on Tuesdays from 5:30 to 7:30, if you are confused about anything, if anything is giving you a hard time, come on down to the Patchogue Medford Library. I'm usually in the young adult section, sometimes downstairs. And you just bring your homework with you, bring anything you want to work on, come down with some friends. You can laugh a little, joke a little, do a bunch of math, and have any questions you need answered. For those of you who don't like extra help early in the morning, it's a wonderful time of day to get any extra help that you need done. Okay, so tomorrow that starts, and it'll be every Tuesday that school is in session for the rest of the year. I should say right up until about the middle of June. So it's a beautiful thing, okay? What's that? Okay. One other thing to keep in mind that I would like you to keep in mind, and we'll talk more about this in probably next couple of days. There's this thing called Mathletes, and we actually have we are defending champions with one of our age levels. And all we do is give you Oreos or Munchies to come to practice. And we meet on Mondays after school for an hour. And then once a month we have a trip to other schools, Bellport, Oregon, Saxton, and us. And we have a little competition where we answer 5 math questions and we try to get it right. If you are the kind of person who likes to be challenged, these are not easy questions. They are not the kind of questions that you find in your textbook. They're not impossible questions by any means. But if you like to be challenged and see just what you have under the hood, so to speak, see how fast that engine revs, so to speak, see if you can hit the target from 1,000 yards away, so to speak, then come on down. Give it a try. It's not something like you have to be there every week or you will be punished. It's a very laid back, laughing, joking kind of thing. Now, if you have a conflict and you want to play sports or you're in the play or anything else, as far as I'm concerned, whatever you want to do is cool by me. I am not here to add stress to your life. So if you are not playing a sport now and then you're going to play a sport later or flip-flop and you just want to go for 2 meets out of 5, you can. We have meets until, I think our last meet is in February. October, November, December, January, February. Yes, 5 meets is what we have during the year. We always end the year with a nice big pizza party. So I think if you do enjoy challenging math questions, I think you will have a little bit of fun with it. Don't knock it till you tried it. And one day when we have more time, I'll tell you of my experience in mathletes when I was in high school. So it consisted of one meet and a pretty girl. What's that? Well, I'm sorry. Did they give cookies? No, but I was in love with one of the girls on the team. So cookies were completely irrelevant. I was so in love. You could have surrounded me with chocolate chip cookies. I wouldn't have mattered. All I wanted was to hang out with this girl.
That's probably why Aiden was on
I don't know if Aiden was on the team. He was on the team? Okay.
the team. Yeah. He would come
Okay.
home and tell us. Oh,
We actually have some 7th graders in the building who played as 6th graders last year, and they won as 6th graders. They beat all the 7th graders. They're really good. There's like 6 of them.
There's so many nerds in 7th grade.
Hold it. You know what? Here's my mathletes thing real quick because we have to get going on this. But what they told me the one time I went, I only went because she asked me to go. I had no interest in going, but she wanted me to go. But they looked at me and they said that they wanted to be like me. And it was the athletes also said it. It was the athletes and the nerds. And they said, you know what? You're really weird, Bob. They said, what's so strange about you? That's my real name. They didn't call me Mr. Lindquist in high school. So
Oh, I thought
but
you were talking about.
no, I was in 11th grade when this happened. They go, you know what? You can do everything. They said you're on the wrestling team, you play baseball, football, and they said you're on the chess team and mathletes. They said all of the jocks would turn. When you get to 11th grade, the people who don't do that well in school, they realize that they wish they did a lot better, and they wish they worked harder when they were younger. And they would look at me, and the athletes who didn't do so well, they would go, man, we want to be like you because you can get all of these, you get great grades, you do really, really well in class. And then the ones who were more nerdy would go, you know, we always wanted to be athletic, and you can play sports. So they both wound up really respecting it. And I know in middle school, to be thought of as someone on a math team, sometimes it's like, oh man, look at that nerd. But what I am telling you is as you get older, it becomes a cool thing, and people appreciate it for what it is. And the other thing that's really important to understand is this. There's going to be a day when you are all, I believe, going to go to college. And what you want to do is you want to challenge yourself as much as possible when you're younger. Encounter the most difficult stuff you can encounter so that it raises your level of competition. Think about it this way. If we were constantly competing in softball against the best teams in New York State, and then we go to a tournament, we would be prepared. But if we only competed against teams that were really bad and we could beat by 20 runs, how prepared would you be for that tournament? You get your doors blown off. So I think this is a great way to prepare for schooling as you get older. All right, so Todd, he finds a job wrapping presents during Christmas season. At first, he wraps one present per house. So actually, the first thing we have to do is we have to set this guy up here. This is going to be presents wrapped. I really don't feel like writing, so I'm just going to do that. This is going to be presents, and this is going to be time. Okay, so here's the deal. Every year I give this quiz, and every year some students do the following. They start here. I don't understand why. Here being at the point 1, 1. Look, the first minute they do 1, the second minute they do 1, the third minute they do 1. So for the first 3 minutes, they do 1 per minute. That line has to go all the way to 0 presents at 0 minutes. So it has to go all the way to that origin, if you will, that point 0, 0. Then the next thing it says is at the third minute, he starts to go faster and wraps 3 presents per minute. 1, 2, 3 over 1. 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 He does that for 4 minutes, so you should do that 4 times. Mary, did you check out that technique? Right? Are we good on that technique? All right. For those of you who didn't see Mary's paper, she went 1, 2, 3 over 1. 1, 2. This is a very, very. Okay. The first time I've seen that in 3 years now, given this quiz. Okay. Let's see here. Now at the 7th minute, Todd had no presents to wrap for 2 minutes. There's 2 minutes, no presents. Some people put 1 minute. What was up with that? Some people did that. I don't understand why.
I really felt like the dot was 1 and then the other dot was 2. That's what Mary did too. She drew 3 dots, but it was only 2 squares.
It's a Monday, right, Mary? Mary doesn't do Mondays? I got to get you his t-shirt. Mary doesn't do Mondays. Okay. And then over the next 2 minutes, she wraps 2 presents per minute. 1, 2. There we go. And this meets, this point right here, if you will, is 11:19. And I write that because of the next question. The next question was far and away the one everybody in class missed. It says, what's the rate of change, or the average rate of change? Rate of change is known as slope. Now, how do you find the slope? Change in y over change in x. Now, the biggest mistake I saw was that people felt compelled to convert to a decimal. And the problem is that 19 over 11 doesn't convert to a nice decimal. The answer is the y goes from, here's 0, 0 down here. The y goes from 0 to 19, so it's 19 over, the x goes from 0 to 11. So the change in y over change in x is 19 over 11. Leave it. Okay, don't convert to a decimal. What did I just say? Don't convert to a decimal. Are slopes often expressed as a decimal, or are slopes expressed as a fraction? Fraction. Okay. The next question after that says to graph. The graph looks like this. -2, 5. Fill in the 5, open circle here. Make sure you show that the graph is not the actual number line. Okay? And the last one, we had a little bit of mess up. Look, it says time. So h of t equals, plus what was it, 34, 44, what? 44? Is it?
40.
I think it's 44. It's always the upward velocity in the middle. All right, so it's always the upward velocity. So we have that set up. Any questions? Okay. I think that when you go over your quiz tonight, and remember, always do that before you start your homework. When you go over your quiz, I think you'll be in great shape. Okay, so let's go to okay. If f of x is equal to 3 to the x, find f. If f of x is 3 to the x, find f of 3. That gives me 3 to the 3. And what is that better known as, guys? Well, I see very much distraction going on here. What is this better known as? 27. Nice. If this is going to be 10 squared plus 5 times 2, what are we going to get there? 110. Good. Find the value of 7 to the 0. What is 7 to the 0, everybody? 1. Anything to the 0 is 1. Why does 7 to the 0 equal 1? Here's why. Ready? I sense distraction. Distraction is not good. What is anything divided by itself? Say 7 to the 5th over 7 to the 5th. Uno. Very good. 1 is correct. Now, the rule is to subtract exponents. So on this side, 5 minus 5 makes 0. So therefore, 7 to the 0 has to be 1. Okay? Any questions? All right. You'll notice that this do it was very similar to the other day's do it. So we should be getting to the point now where those questions do not look, or where those questions are easy. Okay. We talked the other day about exponential functions. Okay? We talked about quadratic functions, and we said that quadratic functions always look like what? A U. It can be either a smiley, happy face U, or it can be a frown, depressed U. For example, if you are a New York Ranger fan, it's usually the smiley, happy U. And if you are a New York Islander fan, it tends to be a frowny, depressed U. So that's just the nature of the beast. Now, next up, exponential functions. Exponential functions, and also quadratics tend to describe the flight of a ball, and quadratics also tend to talk a little bit about money in different places. Now, exponential functions, population and interest rate. Whenever the problem is about population and interest rate, we expect it to be an exponential function. Assume bacteria population doubles every hour. Which of the following 3 tables of data, with x representing time in hours and y the count of bacteria, could represent the bacteria population with respect to time? which one of these looks like they could represent population with respect to time? Which one looks exponential? Emma? Yeah, the middle one, B. Because can you see that everything here is doubling? Right? Does everybody see that? What this literally means is that a particular petri dish, perhaps with smallpox or the bubonic plague, is sitting in some lab rat's office. And there are 3 bacteria or whatever they are that cause this particular horrible disease. And then they begin to double over time. So 3 becomes what? 6. Then they all split and they become 12. And then they all split and they become 24. And they split in 48 and so on and so forth. So this is a picture of it. And if I was to graph this, it would start at 3 and go like this. That is an exponential function. This, if you notice, it's a linear function. It's constantly going up by the same amount. So this is linear. This is exponential. And this guy, 0, 1, 1, 3, 2, 7, 3, 13. This is actually half a parabola. Okay? So this one is actually going to be quadratic. We'll talk more later in the year about how to recognize this. But it works out to be a quadratic situation. Okay. So, take a look here. Story 1. The population size grows at a constant rate for some time, then doesn't change for a while, then grows at a constant rate once again. Which of these 4 graphs, A, B, C, or D, could that describe? Bella. D is correct. Nicely done. Story 2. The population size grows somewhat fast at first, then the rate of growth slows. Grows somewhat fast at first, then the rate of growth slows. D is correct, right? It's growing pretty fast, and then the rate of growth slows. It's still growing, but it's slowing down. Here it's growing pretty fast. There, not so much. The population size declines to 0. I don't see any graph that has a population that declines to 0. I see a steady increase. I see an increase, then a decrease, then an increase again. There are none here that go to 0. Okay, so what we talked about today was how to recognize exponential. Everything is multiplied by a common factor. By the way, it doesn't have to be doubled. It could be tripled. It could be times 4. And you get that graph that looks like it's going straight up. Not a U. A U is quadratic. Okay? All right, so you have tonight homework to get done. Don't forget extra help Monday, Wednesday, Thursday.